everyone, how you doing? A minute early. Good, eh? No dripping. I'm 60 seconds early tonight. Guy LaRue, your first live BBC Spews, you lucky devil. This is where the magic happens. As long as I'm actually online. No viewers? Why not? Refresh chat. There we go. Hello, Bailey. Chud. Good evening, all. Man, I am raged today. I've got so much stuff that's annoyed me in the last 24 hours. It's difficult for me to remain famously good-humoured. Right? Am I famously good-humoured? I used to think so until I started reading the BBC regularly. Now I'm filled with furious anger. Whoa, you actually got a notification as well. I must have stopped swearing a bit in the last 12 hours, and YouTube have took notice. It's a terrible state of affairs, and the last 24 hours has just been a shambles. Shambles. You know, the really annoying part of it all is, you guys know I like to talk about old adages, because old adages have a lot of wisdom in them. They always have. Like I've said many times before, the reason something becomes either an adage or a stereotype is because there's the ring of truth to them. And any reasonable, logical person obviously knows that stereotypes aren't always true. So when you say them, it's for a bit of humour. Because not all people are something. Not all British people have bad teeth. I've got pretty good ones, look. In fact, if I hadn't been kicked in the face and punched in the mouth so many times growing up north, my teeth would be immaculate. But plenty of them have bad teeth. When you've got a nation full of drunks, northerners, and people that drink and fight quite a lot, funny old thing, they have shit teeth. Not that weird. Not that weird. But it doesn't mean that it's wrong to say... Is it that controversial to say that a lot of stereotypes have the ring of truth to them? That's why they exist. And as I've said many times, if you made one up, it wouldn't take off, would it? If you said northerners collect stamps, it wouldn't take off, would it? Because you'd say it a few times and people would go, what are you talking about, you stupid twat? But then you say things that have the ring of truth and people go, oh yeah, and it becomes a stereotype. It doesn't mean that they're all true and you should treat people differently because of stereotypes. Because everyone's an individual, but there's still a ring of truth to them. And old sayings, the whole reason they take off and your granny tells you them is because they make sense. They do make sense. They all make sense. Because if they didn't, they would have died, they would have vanished. They wouldn't exist. All of them. Name me an old adage that's not true. Name me one. A stitch in time saves nine. Yeah, it fucking does. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Yeah. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I don't care which one it is, but there's a reason we use them. Because they're true. Right? And an old adage that anybody with the IQ higher than that of an inanimate object, a flip-flop, as I like to say, knows that if you don't stand up to a bully, the bully will become emboldened. If you don't stand up to a bully, the bully will take the piss. There's plenty of old adages I could use there. What about, No, it wouldn't work. All right, now I've made myself look like a twat. There was one right on the end of my lips. The short version is, we know this. It's as if our ministers, our MPs, especially ministers of Scottish Parliament, really do have no common sense, no reason, no judgment, or, because it's both, some of them are clever, they have the IQ to piece it together, but they are such rank cowards. They haven't got the spine to do what needs to be done. And that's why we're in this situation we're in. Sorry, that's not the story I wanted there. I was just... Let's roll through the ones I picked out for tonight's tirade. Yeah, this one. Kill the Bill Bristol protest. Shameful, Priti Patel says. How can you sympathise with people that are so clueless and stupid and ignorant? It really does. See, Priti strikes me as being intelligent, so it's just got to be cowardice. Rank cowardice and shameless politicking. Because they knew what was going to happen. They knew what was going to happen. We all knew what was going to happen. A medieval fishwife knew what was going to happen. That's why they say to the kids, stand up to the bullies. Stand up to the bullies. The oldest fucking every grandparent in the world has said that to their children or their grandchildren at some point. Everyone. Stand up to the bullies. Do it. You have to. And our leaders will not do it. They refuse to do what needs to be done. And this is the result. It's shameful. Of course it was going to happen. You take a knee to a mob when they're pulling down a statue of Winston Churchill. Honestly, if we had a statue of Gary Glitter in the middle of the town centre, I could possibly understand it. If it was someone even remotely controversial, if we had a giant bronze of Rolf Harris stroking the hair of a small boy outside the Metro Centre, yeah, I could get it. But when it's someone like Winston Churchill, who defeated the actual literal Nazis, again, I hate using the word literally, because knobheads use it so literally all the time, but literal Nazis, the real ones, right? The real ones. The man who stood firm against them. If you're going to pull down his statue, not a controversial figure, not even someone like Margaret Thatcher, joking aside, there's a controversial person, Margaret Thatcher. It wasn't even a statue of Thatcher. It was a statue of the man who single-handedly bolstered the British people so they stood firm against butchers that gassed 6 million women, kids, babies, you name it. If you're going to take a knee to people wrecking statues of Winston Churchill, why won't they continue to take the piss? Why won't they? Again, it shouldn't be left to people like me, normal working class, dare I say it, scum. Normal working class scum like me shouldn't be having to explain this stuff to Oxbridge graduates who profess to be intelligent. And to see Miss Whitholm there, Nottingham East's MP, refusing to condemn them when they've just put a copper in hospital with a collapsed lung and punched a policewoman in the face, beggars belief. Beggars belief. The only thing more surprising than elected officials refusing to condemn it is, I'll have to show you. Where's my Twitter? Yeah, there we go. The only thing more surprising than elected officials refusing to condemn outright violence and hate, right, is, there's Nadia. The only thing more surprising than that is how square her head is. Herman Munster himself couldn't wear a pantsuit that uncomfortably on television. SpongeBob Squarehead in the comment, as you can see, I put SpongeBob Squarehead uses a safe for a bowler hat. It must be all that time jamming square pegs through round holes. Not very mature. No, I admit it's not very mature, but I'll tell you what, it's more mature than being an elected official and openly promoting attacking police officers, which is basically what Nadia Whitholm's done. Don't worry, I'll take her off your screens now. What a gopping creature. Look at the clip of that. So again, I know I'm not, I hold my hands up, I'm not being mature. I'm only some random Joe with a few thousand YouTube followers. I don't need to be mature, but she should be mature, and she isn't. So if she's not going to be, when there's police women in hospital, well, I'm not going to be. That's fair, isn't it? Totally fair. Nadia's supposed to be mature. And Nadia, gopping bit of kit that she is, who looks like she rode a motocross bike through the ugly rainforest, she's not mature. So why the fuck should I be? Why should I be when our leaders are a complete and utter mongs, for want of a better word? Anyway, I'm trying to think of a more polite word. They don't deserve my politeness. They don't deserve my politeness or my maturity. It's shocking. Yeah, so anyway. There's Whiskey Straight Al. He's a good lad, Al. And my favourite booze reviewer on the internet. Just give him a like, check him out. I do like a man who allows me to drink vicariously through him on the internet. Also, have you seen how they've named the protest? They've obviously called it Kill the Bill on purpose. Aunt McPartlin in drag. Yeah, it looks like she drew her eyebrows on with a fucking boxing glove. They've obviously called it Kill the Bill because of the double meaning, haven't they? Kill the Bill. That's pretty offensive and obnoxious. But they caused all this. And by the way, I'm not just having to go at Labour. The blue Labour who are currently running the country, they caused this. Priti Patel was supposed to be strong. Priti Patel is as soft as a second-hand arsehole. I can't believe how weak and spineless and pathetic she's been. Like, I always said as well, I had the best hopes for Priti because I thought, if you're a brown woman, you'll have a little bit more leeway with the identitarian left, won't you? You'll be able to do a little bit more. Like if Jacob Rees-Mogg was the Home Secretary, you can think Jacob Rees-Mogg had bottled it a little bit and thought, I can't take the piss too much because they're all calling me a nasty straight white man, privileged, whatever. Priti Patel being as pathetic as she is has really made me rethink my plan. My plan, I honestly thought, if we really wanted to get somewhere with illegal immigration and rank stupidity bending over for the far left, my plan was get a black female prime minister. Like, play them at their own game. I hate identity politics. I've never judged anybody by their immutable characteristics. I never have, ever. And again, Matty B there was still having a go at me yesterday, trying to call me a racist, because it's the only argument they've got when they can't win the argument. I've never, ever cared about what somebody is. Never. Don't care if they're gay, like I said. Don't care what anybody is. I like people. I've always been a people person. I come across as angry because I read the BBC all the time. I'm a people person. If I get on a bus and there's only one seat there and it happens to be a black, disabled Muslim woman, I'll sit next to her and say, all right, love, how are you doing? And I'll try and get on with her. And I'll assume always that she's going to be a good crack. I never look at anybody and think, this person's going to be a wanker and have no interest in talking to me, because I've been blessed in my life. I've got what would you call it? A dynamic personality. I like people, and people can probably tell it's not fake. I don't try to make friends with people because of what I think they're going to give me. I like people. I'm always chattering away. My brother thinks I'm a bit weird because when we go to the pub, I'll just talk to strangers and he's like, you're a fucking weirdo. What are you talking to that fucker for? I like people. I've never judged anyone like that. But I thought the one way we could combat this stupidity was to play them at their own game and maybe get Kemi Badenoch or someone, get anyone who ticks as many boxes as we can on the communist identity pyramid and just make them the Prime Minister. Pack the front bench with them. That was my plan. Get Kemi to be the PM, Home Secretary can be Priti, just pack the whole front bench with them. And then when Diane Abbott or one of these morons on the left, because they don't have any logic, they just keep saying, oh, lived experience, pack the front bench with them. And when they say, oh yeah, my lived experience, they can say, well, what about my lived experience? And when Priti did it, they all laughed in her face. which showing how nakedly partisan it is. But if the whole front bench was packed with them, they wouldn't have anywhere to go, would they? They wouldn't have anywhere to go with it. Just do it. Diane Abbott and David Lammy, oh yeah, well, it's just because you're not black. And Kemi's like, I'm black. And then Pretty's like, I'm a woman. And they could just do it. Just play them at their own stupid game. Because we, actually liberal people, not the communists who've culturally appropriated the term liberal. They don't know the meaning of the word. Matty there, you do not know the meaning of the word liberal. You're not a liberal. I'm a liberal. You're a communist, an identitarian. All you care about is what people are, what people look like, what people... I mean, why judge people by the skin colour? Why not just do their eyes, or the height, or the size of the feet? If you're going to do this nonsense, decide someone needs you to defend them. They don't need you to defend them. I like people based on their opinions. And I'd rather spend a week trapped in a lift with 20 people that happen to be black, like Candace Owen, that are conservatives or libertarians, than brush past one of you white northern liberals in the street. I've got no interest in talking to you people anymore. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't display any knowledge. You never tell me anything enlightening. You don't do basic research. And you're not liberal. You're just not. Most of them are bad people and they don't even know the bad people. They're judgmental, rash, arrogant, selfish, spiteful. And they sit there thinking they're the good guys. Like, it really is mind-blowing. It's like that sketch where David Williams, is it not Williams, that was the knobhead from Little Britain, you know, where the Nazis looking in the mirror like, are we the bad guys? Yeah, you are. You're the bad guys. And if calling your protest kill the bill clearly is a euphemism for murder police officers, yeah, and punching little short-ass policewomen in the face and throwing bricks at police horses doesn't convince you that you're the bad guys, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, look, it's laughing at that. Ha ha, happened to be. What's funny about that? Candace Owen doesn't agree with you. Thomas Sewell doesn't agree with you. There's thousands. Zuby doesn't agree with you. I don't care what you look like, what you happen to look like. I don't care. I don't care what you put your cock in. All I care about is your opinions and what you think. It's all I care about. And I'm assuming, Matty, you're a white lad. I don't care. I don't like you. I don't like your opinions. You have the situational awareness of a goldfish in a hijab. You don't know what you're talking about. And all it is whataboutism. Trump said worse. Yeah, of course he has. But I'm not defending Trump. Trump always says stupid shit because Trump is a braggart and he's a billionaire and he can get away with it. I think we should have more people talking like Jacob Rees-Mogg because he's a man who I can look up to because he's got a fantastic vocabulary and he sounds well educated. But you don't like him either, do you? So what's the point? Anyway, enough picking on one self-professed, not liberal. Let's do some more news. The short version with this is, though, folks, like I said, obviously, we get what we deserve. We get what we deserve. We vote these people in. They don't do a good job. It is our fault. It's our fault. We tolerate it. It's rank stupidity. Bowing down in the face of a bully always leads to the same destination. It's been known since the Roman era. It's been known since the Sumerians. It's been known since ancient Egypt. For as long as humans have had the ability to fucking sew clothing, right? Maybe Ugg didn't know how to do it when he was wandering around with the furs on. But pretty much since we've been able to raise children, we've knew that you don't bow down to a bully. And that's what we did. So this is what we're going to get. And it's going to keep getting worse. The more you bow down, the worse it gets. And if they bow down again, then we'll get another riot next month. And then they'll put a few more coppers in hospital. And it'll just keep continuing until someone gets killed. And maybe they'll pull a policewoman to bits in the middle of the street. And then we'll do something about it. But it's always the same. We never, ever do a preemptive response, even though we're supposed to have clever people in charge who know who will do risk assessments and mitigate risk and have clever people who are supposed to plan and protect. We never ever do it. We always react after the fact. Manchester bombing. There was 10 fucking different red flags went off before that murderous little shit scattered a bunch of women and kids up the side of the fucking Manchester Evening News Arena, and we didn't do anything about it. And then it happens and they go, oh no, we should have seen this coming. We did see it coming. I seen it coming. His mother and father were in fucking ISIS and you invited them in and gave them a council house in Manchester. What did you think he was going to do? Grow up to be a fucking, what, an advocate of gay rights when his mum and dad are in ISIS? Or an equivalent organisation. It wasn't ISIS at the time. What do these people think? It's madness. Of course he was going to kill a load of women and kids. Of course he was. Stevie Wonder could have saw it coming. And they do nothing. It really, really makes me angry. Like I said, ruins my famously good-humoured, pleasant demeanour. If I didn't have to put up with this shit 7 days a week, I would be the most chirpy man in town. I'm a people person, and they do this to me. The BBC and The Guardian. The only good thing is it's got me praying for the sweet relief of a comet or a nuclear Armageddon, because at least as I expire, shortly before I cast my soul into the void, I can at least know that Owen Jones and the BBC will also be reduced to ash seconds after I am. That's the only upside I've got from the last 48 hours news cycle. It really is shocking. So there, that's all I've got to say about that. Do not ever tolerate or bend over for a bully. You face bullies head on. Even if you're scared, you steel yourself, grit your teeth and do it. Because if you don't, it will only get worse. And I pray that this is finally the catalyst for the government to realise that the British people voted for the Conservatives because we wanted to keep things how they used to be. It's why they're called the Conservatives. They're not called the change every bastard thing tivs. They're called the Conservatives. Preserve what was. Preserve the statues. Preserve the institutions. Keep order and discipline and common sense. That's what we voted for. We didn't vote for blue Labour. We didn't vote for critical race theory, Marxism, communism, identity politics, collectivism. We didn't vote for that. Nothing. Nobody did. Well, some people did. They lost. They keep losing. They've lost and lost and lost and lost. How many times do they have to lose? And Boris Johnson's still like, well, we have to look out for the left. We don't. They hate you, Boris. You can pander to them all you want. They will never, ever vote for you. So play to your base. Who doesn't play at the base? Like, this is madness. Boris is sitting there going, oh, but maybe if I'll take these twats for granted, like Bootneck and his friends, I'll take them for granted because they're guaranteed to vote for me, and I will constantly pander to the far left. The far left. You think they're going to vote for you, Boris? You think the far left, you're going to just keep on keeping on with this shit, and all of a sudden they're going to go, you know what? He's such a good lad, Boris. I'm going to vote for Jacob Rees-Mogg. Fuck it. They're not. They're not. Owen Jones will never, ever vote Conservative. You could keep pushing every little lefty, commie wish list bill across your desk and signing it, and they will never, ever, ever vote for you. Ever. They'll still vote for fucking Red Ed or whichever Green Party communist knobhead happens to be the flavour of the month. Arseholes like SpongeBob Squarehead there. Where? There. SpongeBob Squarehead. That's who's getting the vote. So sort your life out. Pretty shitty. Stop pandering to bullies. The general public support it. 80% of the public support smashing these twats. It's got to stop. Seriously, I don't know if we do some opinion polls. Who supports pulling down the Churchill statue? Seriously. It will 4 out of 5 people. I'll hold my hand up, say I don't know. That was a instantaneous, invented figure, like I'm a lefty. Purely out my own. I pulled them numbers out my arse. But I'll stand by them. If you did a snap poll, YouGov, asked 10,000 people, should we dismantle all the fucking Winston Churchill statues? At least 80% of people would say no. 60% of people would say fuck no. 20% of people would say no, just leave them where they are, it's fine. You get a radical wing who go, yeah man, peace and love dudes. Spend far too much long in some shit for brains university who teaches them absolutely nothing that hasn't been sanctioned by Robin DiAngelo, and they don't know anything from after about 1960. They know nothing about the past, nothing about the Second and First World Wars, nothing about antiquity, nothing about biology, physics, chemistry. They know absolutely fuck all. They're the only people who you're pandering to, Boris. So sort your life out. Right? That's my tirade over. Let's talk about something else. Christ almighty. Oh yeah, Alex. Yeah, sorry, a lot of people have brought up Alex. Yeah, Alex Bellfield. He doesn't need my support, does he? to answer that, Maggie, right? I did share it on Twitter, but he doesn't need me to speak for him. Have you seen how many fucking followers he's got on YouTube? 250,000. I was actually really surprised how popular he is. So he doesn't need my support. For what it's worth, I put it out on Twitter. I will say he seems to be sincere. Those people calling him a grifter, I don't particularly like him. I think he's smug and ginger. But I'm kidding, redheads again, you know this. But I think he's sincere. I don't think he'd be as direct as he has been if he's lying. So no, I don't believe he's telling lies. I think he is sincere, or he wouldn't have the bit between his teeth, and he obviously does need your support. So for what it's worth, my paltry 7,000 subs or whatever it is, of course, go and check out Alex Bellfield, share his stuff about. He does strike me as being sincere, and we know how the BBC are. We know how Silicon Valley are. They are obviously going to sugar puffs. Fox piss. Smell like fox's piss. We know what they're like. It definitely has the ring of truth to it. So yeah, for what it's worth, obviously I support him and I believe him. Defence cuts, I'll cover whoever asked about that because I was going to talk about it. So the defence review is the British Army is to be cut by 72,500 troops by 2025. I will be probably more circumspect than people would expect on this, because obviously I keep my ear to the ground on defence stuff. It really does look like by 2025 we won't need as many infantry troops. Gone are the days where massive numbers of men are going to be lining up across the sands to slaughter each other with small arms. So, to be honest, I'm a little bit on the fence about this. The initial push from me would be to say, yeah, this is bad, we're getting rid of troops. But obviously, if they're actually putting the funding up, but they're cutting back on the manpower, I would assume that more sensible people than me, right? I was a commando. It was my job to be the tip of the spear. I'm not your planner. Yeah, I'm the doer. I would trust in the judgment of the high-ranking military commanders who are obviously talking about this issue behind the scenes. It says it's to be cut by 72,500 as part of a move towards drones and cyber warfare. Ben Wallace said increased deployability and technological advantage meant greater effort could be delivered by fewer people. Probably true. And they said they're increasing the defence budget by 24 billion over the next 4 years. So they're not cutting money, which leads me to believe this is intelligence-led. And they're telling them we don't need that many people. So the fact that the budget's going up is encouraging. It's not a discouraging thing. Yeah, some part of my primitive brain just instantly goes, less men, terrible. But if the money's going up and the powers that be decide it's a wise choice, I'm inclined to lean towards maybe it's a wise decision. Another reason why I made this decision is because I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. The story about the Royal Marines fighting a load of a much more numerically sizable force in the United States. Let me see if I can quickly find that for you guys just to... yeah, what I would say is, first of all, take it with a pinch of salt because it's in the sun. Second of all, if it was such a good idea, maybe we shouldn't have told everybody about it. But leading on from what I've just talked about, it said that a strike squad of 100 Royal Marines smashed 1,500 US troops in a war game drill, and the shock victory revolutionised military thinking. Said they absolutely smashed them, our future commando force. That's a new thing, didn't exist when I was in. 4-3 commando as well. There's a new commando unit, and obviously they're dealing with all the Gucci technology. They said conventional tactics suggest the need to heavily outnumber the defending Americans, but working in 8 teams of 12, they outmaneuvered their rivals and used helicopter drones linked to screens on their chests to pinpoint weak spots. The £400 million drill had to be cut short because the British victory was so swift and unexpected. Chief of Defence Staff General Sir Nick Carter, obviously a much higher rank than Bootneck, told the Sun this has overturned the principles of war. Mass is no longer the asset it once was, it's all about effect. They reckon they've got really Gucci technology, drones, flying grenades, fucking mad robots and shit. It is. Brigadier Dan Cheeseman, he was a major when I was at 40 Commando, Major Cheeseman. You don't forget a name like Major Cheeseman, do you? He's head of the Royal Navy's high-tech weapons wing, so he's a bootneck. And he said this has turned around traditional thinking. The future commando force and the new Tier 2 SF Ranger Regiment, slim at the Green Berets, unveiled high-tech weapons at the Bovington camp. They're using remote-controlled mortar bombs, throwbots, flying grenades. Dave Young, another bootneck, RSM of 3 Commando Brigade, said if we had this kit in Afghanistan, it would have saved lives. They're also looking to see if Marines in jet suits can board a ship. So that is enough. That's good enough for me, folks. That's my roundup of that one. You do need troops to fight wars, Joshua, but it's like I said, the money's there. If cleverer man than me, like Brigadier Cheeseman there, or the Razman from 3 Commando Brigades, chucking up the new equipment they've got, and we've freed up an additional £24 billion to pay for it, I'll trust their judgment. That's it. We'll see. Like I said, 2025, we might have fucking robots doing... I mean, because operations in built-up areas are extremely difficult, take a lot of casualties. The conventional wisdom is you need far more attackers. If you've got 1,000 men defending, you need 5,000 attacking. If we've now upended that using technology, we probably need less men, right? If we have a war with China or Russia, it's not going to come down to a load of bootnecks lining up across a field and having a scrap with a load of commies. It's going to wind up with drone strikes, cruise missiles, fucking those bariatric bombs or whatever they're called, where they fucking blow everybody up and leave the infrastructure standing. There's loads of scary shit. I'm trusting the judgment of high-ranking officers. Maybe that's because I got used to following orders. We'll see. What time is it now? I'll do another one. So, Kill the Bill, shocking. British Army, yeah, doesn't really concern me too much as long as the money's getting spent, and it is. COVID-19 PM's third wave warning. Oh, this just does my head in, right? Being proved right all the time. I told you guys, the main reason I started doing this was because I'm a chippy northerner. I like being proved right all the time. But it's actually doing my head in now, because it's like being Cassandra. You can be right all the time, but nobody listens when you're just a twat on the internet like me. What have we all been saying for the last 12 months? We knew they weren't going to relinquish power. It's like Bilbo Baggins with his ring. Why should I give it up? Why should they? Power's addictive. They don't want to let us out. But I've said everything I need to say about COVID-19 at this point, and we're all sick of hearing it, aren't we? It's just shit. We just have to hope that enough people are going to start whinging about it, that they will be forced to change course. I'm optimistic about that because we have been whinging a lot. There's a lot of people dripped about what's going on here. They must know the popularity's tanking and we've had enough. It's been a year. You can take the piss for a little bit, but you can't just do it indefinitely. I don't know whether he's just lining this up so he can look like the good guy when he lets us all out, but I would assume with the vaccination rates and the plummeting, the death rates and the R rate has plummeted with all the vaccinations that have gone on. So I'm thinking he's just trying to hedge his bets, and I would be amazed if they don't let us out, at least like they were going to do, open the beer gardens on April the 12th. And then we can all get absolutely battered in the beer gardens outside Wetherspoons. And morale will suddenly soar with the birds. Love the air, Kate. Thank you very much. It's a classic council cut, you know. Vidal Sassoon. It's good for me, though, because I've got a bit of a monkey's head. So, you know, I only had a 3 head for many, many years. And now I've started to recede slightly. I look like a normal human. So I just had to look like a chimp for 10 years, and now I'm back to being human. Finally. So yeah, it's a bit shit, isn't it? 3 weeks to flatten the curve. Yeah, and at the time, what did I say? It's not happening. If you think they're going to let us out with 3 weeks, you're a maniac. I haven't really put a foot wrong on the coronavirus thing, have I? Been right on the money with a lot of it. England's roadmap's very optimistic, obviously, because the Welsh are a bunch of fucking Plaid Cymru. Don't get me started on them again. There is no nationalist movement that isn't packed with ridiculous, overbearing lefties who want to basically treat you like recalcitrant school children. It's not on. So I don't care what the Welsh have to say. Sorry. I like the Welsh. A lot of Welsh in me, but like most borough lads, I like the Welsh as a people, but I've got absolutely no interest in what their knobhead First Minister says. Thanks all the same. What's the problem with the EU vaccine rollout? They're absolutely shite at it. That's the problem. Macron, I mean, again, I haven't been wrong there either, have I? It was pure politics. I've been saying it for fucking weeks. We all knew what they were doing. I like to think we've been vindicated there as well. And the best thing is, Macron has had to go on television and get vaccinated with the AstraZeneca vaccine on TV after slagging it off for 6 weeks. Could he make himself look like any more of a chopper? Probably not. Going on TV and getting the AZ jab, there's nothing could have made him look more like a chopper. The only thing that would have made him look more like a chopper is if he went on TV and got penetrated by Angela Merkel with a cactus on the news at 10. So I love that. I love that. When Macron got that jab, I was buzzing. That is happy day, Bootneck vindicated, and everybody that was totally outrageously offended by the way the EU's acted for the last few months. Wonderful. In fact, everyone watching this can probably give yourselves a chuckle, because I don't think there's many Remainers on here, is there? Every single thing we've said about the EU, we've been vindicated. Everything we said. Me especially, for over a year I've been saying it, we don't need the Europeans to teach us anything. We teach them. We're better than them at everything. We've always shown them the way. The continentals spawn endless dictators. Look at the way that they are at the football matches. There's a good judgment of the general public. We get criticised and slandered by the left all the time. The British are a good people. It's a good country and it's a welcoming place. And when it comes to the really good metrics, when you check YouGov or any of the big polls, the French, the Germans, the Italians, the Spanish, they're more homophobic, more prejudiced, more racist, more bigoted, more reactionary than the British. The British have never been emboldened by collectivism like the Continentals have. We never have been. We've always been stiff upper lip, straight-laced, not as emotional, not as reactionary. Present company accepted. I'm emotional because I'm a thick northern twat and I get angry very, very easily. But in general, Thanks to those educated Southerners, we are not a reactionary people. We're a more sensible, measured, circumspect people than the passionate Continentals. That's what you can tell, can't you? Because look at the difference between us and the Italians. It's like if you're British and you're walking down the street and you reserved Brits and you see a girl you fancy, what you're going to do? Blush? Maybe say, good morning, dear. What you don't go is go, hey, mamma mia, bastardo, and fucking spear half a tub of Brill cream on your head, pinch your fucking ass, and then follow around town for 2 hours with 50 of your mates on scooters. Like, we're just more reasonable than them. I went out with a German bird years ago, and she used to say that all the time, like, whenever we'd queue for a bus or something, land at an airport, she's always like, the English are much nicer at this type of thing. We queue. We don't all go, hey, bellissimo, and go ape shit on a fucking whim. The French, they're always kissing each other and freaking the fuck out. The Continentals are not as reasonable as we are. Shams, well, I'm not reserved either, but again, I'm stereotyping. The point is, the Europeans are not going to teach us anything. We're all right with individual freedoms compared to them. We're all right with fucking treating people fairly. We're all right with workers' rights. We don't need their help. We know how to treat workers just fine, thanks. A lot of these things we led on. Workers' rights, women's rights, voting, gay rights, gay marriage, abortion, fucking you name it. We don't need Europe. We never have. It's always been shrill panic from Guardian reading spunk trumpets like Owen fucking Jones or Laurie Penny or Afua Hirsch or any of the other shit for brains, self-loathing, clueless communists who don't have the brains they were born with. I wouldn't let any of them talk down to me. The European Union can teach us nothing. We don't need them. We never have. They've always been dragging us down. And just look at the money. They keep going on. They stick that European flag on everything and go, look at that, the Europeans bought us a park. Like, what do you mean they bought us a park? Look at the numbers. We've given the EU in the last 40 years, we have given them net payments of literally hundreds of billions of pounds. Hundreds of billions of pounds. And then they put a fucking flag on a play park in Leeds and they go, whoa, look at that. The EU bought us some swings. What do you mean, you dumb twat? Can you not follow paint by numbers? It works like this. We pay taxes on our labour. Taxes go to the British government. British government sends those taxes to the tune of 15 billion quid a year or whatever it was to the EU. Sorry, left to right, down to the EU. And then the EU gets a tiny fraction of the tax money and pings it back to us and builds a fucking water park with bastard EU flags all over it. And then they go, hey, look at that. We bought you lads some fucking rubber dinghy rapids. You didn't. We bought it. I went to work, carried bricks up a bastard ladder for 12 hours. You took the money off me and then fucking put 2 nails in a plank and said, there you go, that's off fucking Jean-Claude Juncker, while he's plugging 11-year-old prostitutes and drinking 600-pound bottles of fucking wine. Are you an absolute mong? I don't know what else to tell people that are pro-EU about the money. Oh yeah, look at all the money the EU give us. It's our money. It's our money. It's not even an argument. It's not even an argument. Net payments to the tune of hundreds of billions of pounds. It's black and white. Lefty arsehole. Go on Google. Just type in net payments to the EU. We were the second biggest because the French got larger subsidies back. It was the Germans and us. And the Germans do it because they are self-loathing, because they were the bad guys in the World War and we were the fucking good guys. So how they convinced us to pump in almost as much money as they do when they've got the victim complex and we're the good guys is fucking beyond me. We give the best of our country, young men bled to death in those fields. We gave our everything to liberate Europe. Blood, treasure, our heart and soul to liberate Europe. And then, 40 years later, because of shit cunts like Blair, we somehow managed to shake hands with the guys who caused it all and then go, oh, well, we're both equally culpable. Let's both put loads of money in and start buying Greek hairdressers, fucking cheeky Chenkos. What planet are these people on? They should buy them cheeky Chenkos because they feel guilty because they put 6 million Jews in the ovens. But we didn't. We, my fucking grandparents, fucking both of them, fought in the Second World War. Lucky bastards that they are, they lived. That's why I'm here when tens of millions of others aren't. But don't put me in the same bastard list with a bunch of Jerrys who joined the SS and tell me that I'm as financially culpable as they are. I'm not. I don't agree with original sin. But don't tell me that we should be paying in as much as the Germans. They can do it because they've got a guilt complex, but I'm not. I don't feel guilty. We were the good guys. We don't need to. And I don't want to sound like one of those jingoistic old pensioners that wants to keep on bringing up the war. I don't want to do that. And I've got nothing against the Germans. I'm just saying you can at least understand why the Germans are willing to take as much shit as they do and to spend as much money as they do to get the EU continue it rolling, because they do feel guilty about what happened. The Japanese were the same. They were awful, the Japanese, and they've embraced and come to grips with what that generation did. And they're now the nicest, most polite and reasonable. I've spent a lot of time in Japan. Really, really nice people. Unlike the far left, I don't believe in irredeemables and deplorables. Got no problem with modern Germans and Japanese. They are nice people. But there's a reason why they feel this sense of guilt. And the British don't need to feel that. We don't. It's not our ancestral shame to bear. We were the good guys. Don't tell me we have to feel shame. William Wilberforce and people like that basically invented banning slavery. It was the most normal thing ever. Every single fucking society in human history practiced slavery. And then William Wilberforce and the like said maybe we should ban it. And fucking 200 years later you've got lefty knobheads pretending that George Washington invented the practice, for fuck's sake. Like, again, read a book. He didn't. He didn't. The Greeks did it, the Persians did it, the Iranians did it, everybody did it. The Romans did it. Go back further. Ancient Egypt, the Sumerians. Slavery is as old as humanity. It was practiced almost as soon as we learned to walk upright. And then a bunch of British dudes said, we better ban that, it's a bit immoral. And all of a sudden, you'd think fucking Margaret Thatcher come up with the concept. Christ almighty, it makes my head hurt. The stupidity of these left-wing twats. They don't know anything. They don't know anything. And I only got a C in history. Christ almighty, what do they teach them in school nowadays? What do they teach them, seriously, in history class? They sound like the militant black supremacists, you know, the ones who don't think that we're all related. Like I've said, which is beyond retarded, because there's animals in the wild that resemble each other more closely than as closely. Zebras and horses and shit that can't easily breed. Humans, we're all related. Which is why you can get a fucking random Inuit to fuck a Somalian and have kids all day long. You can take a Japanese woman, get her to move to northern fucking Iceland, and they'll squirt out kids all day long, because we're related. There's no need for this stupidity. But the regressive left, seriously, just fucking... They're illiterate. They are functionally illiterate. And the things they know, or think they know, stagger me. And they're as daft as these ones who... The militant black supremacists in America come up with this thing that, you know, some mad doctor went into a cave with some, like, crazy black people, and then he selectively bred them, and a couple of decades later he come out with white people, and apparently that's where we came from. like obviously it's total gibberish from a comic book, but it's as daft as the left wing's version of human history. They know nothing. Nothing. So it's just, I don't put them as any dafter. You think Dr. Zardoz, or whatever he was called, Zardoz, that's one of my followers, Dr. Robotnik created white people in a cave. That is as daft as the Guardian Reader's Guide to Human History. It's as rational. Anyway, that was a very long tirade. They're just doing my editing today. I'm going to sore throat as well, so I think I'll call it there. Yeah, gender studies, Al, what's the point? What's the point? Thanks for tuning in, boys and girls. I did have more I wanted to talk about, but I've ranted so loudly and so aggressively that my voice is starting to die on me, so I'm going to can it. Please like and share my stuff. I always appreciate it. And should do more lives, Boot. What are you on about there? Don't know. Oh, you learn, granddaughters learn about Chernobyl. Well, at least they learn something. Yeah, anyway, I'm off, dudes. My voice is starting to kill me. Our neighbour was built up by Oliver Cromwell to stop Barbary pirates taking British. Yes, that's why. James, we know that. We know that. We can read. We did basic reality-based history when we did our GCSEs. We know the crack. They don't. Thanks, as always, for liking and sharing. I really appreciate it, because YouTube isn't going to do it. We know they're almost as bad as the BBC, aren't they? I like insects, Chris. I like watching videos on YouTube about ants. I find them fascinating. Kyrgyzstats as well, the German channel. Great stuff on there about ants. Check them out. All right, thanks a lot, guys. I'll probably do a quick one tomorrow, because I am getting into this and I need the company, because I'm living in a cupboard by myself. So yeah, cheers. I'll see you all very soon. Thanks a lot.